Hi everyone, this is my run on Cloudy with a chance of Meteor, which is the GL exclusive event, and this is actually going to be a no boss action run. A no boss action run is actually pretty challenging on this stage because there are two key mechanics that you need to get around in order to fulfill a no boss action run. The first thing is that the Lufenia orb is very tricky on this stage because it will -3 anytime the bosses take any sort of brave damage. Anyway, coming quickly to the fight, I resetted until I get a turn order of Selphie, Ramza and Machina. This is actually quite important. So Selphie started off with Wall and Rapture, which deals nice damage and delays both enemies without increasing the orb. On Ramza's turn, it's important to use Sid Rain's base call, and this is quite important. Use the base call on target B to pull Selphie back. If you use Sid Rain's LD call, it does brave damage on both enemies, and this will result in a -3 on boss A. But you do need to use the base call in order to turn manipulate Selphie to return. Anyway, after that I used Ramza's additional ability and ended his turn using his BT+. So back to Selphie's turn again, I used an Meteor LD call here because this will launch the enemies due to the Rapture debuff and will hypercharge the summon meter without actually taking down the orb. That's because Meteor LD call doesn't actually do any brave damage, it just does a 100% gravity shave. So looking at the summon meter is almost to full, and this is where I swap the Selphie out for a Garnet support, and I charge the rest of the summon meter using her Peridot Thunder Flash. So at this point the Lufenia orb is starting to get pretty low, but since Ramza's BT aura is up, I'm fairly sure that Garnet and Machina's BT Plus will be able to deal more than 850,000 brave damage, and therefore will only -1 the Lufenia orb. Finally, on Machina's turn, I would have liked to use his LD to land his LD debuff. Unfortunately, there's no room for it because the orb is at 2 and 3 count respectively. So here I was debating what to do, and right before I popped his BT+, I actually went with a Cait LD call. Cait LD call functions similarly to a Meteor LD call, in that it doesn't actually do any brave damage and will therefore not -3 the orb. This leads to free damage. It's quite important to target the Behemoth with it because you do need to try to kill it as quickly as possible. And I end Machina's turn using his BT+. Since it is supported by both Garnet and Ramza's BT auras, his BT Plus will comfortably do more than 1 million damage and will therefore only -1 the orb. With that setup is complete, I managed to squeeze in Garnet, Ramza and Machina's BT Plus before the orb exploded, so this is really the best time to pop summon. Now, inside summon mode, you have to focus all attacks on the Behemoth, just ignore the Guardian. The reason for this is the Behemoth also has an automatic turn whopping mechanic, which is the second mechanic that you really need to get around for a no boss action run. Right after summon mode ends, the Behemoth will automatically warp its turn to the front, use Mighty Roar and get an HP damage shield. In order to get around that, you simply just have to kill the Behemoth within summon mode, and this is why everyone is focusing damage on the Behemoth. As for the Guardian will also +2 orb count whenever it gets delayed, and because Ramza's LD delays both enemies, you will actually end summon mode with a healthy orb count on the Guardian, so for the most part you can just ignore it completely and focus on killing off the Behemoth. I didn't use Machina's LD inside summon mode because it would have burned off the Cait aura, and frankly I would prefer to have the Cait aura than to have his LD debuff up, so it's sort of like a trade-off. You have more than enough damage anyway, so his LD debuff isn't really required. It is important to be spamming both Garnet and Ramza's LD because they do the most damage out of their skills, and Garner's LD will also help you quickly charge her overhit so that you can get bonus overhit damage during her turn. Right here I use Ramza's additional ability. The main reason for that is to sort of push Machina so that Machina can act first right after summoning mode has ended. I'm hoping that this LD skill used here from Ramza would be enough to kill off the Behemoth. So with this, the Behemoth has died. The Guardian doesn't actually have any turn whopping mechanics, so you don't have to worry about it. First turn out of summon is on Machina's turn, so I immediately pop BT mode, and this is really the end of the fight. The Guardian only has less than 40% health at the start, so you just have to spam HP attacks. Because there is no LD debuff unfortunately, so there's no Spiral Linchpin, but again you don't need it because the boss is low enough. He'll actually be dead midway through the BT mode right here. Just quickly, in terms of alternatives, you do need to have LD calls that doesn't do any brave damage. So here I use Cait LD and Meteor LD call. I think Edward's LD call will also do a gravity shave and launch, so that could be another option as well. Other than that, I can't think of any, but as long as you have an LD call that will be able to deal HP damage without a brave damage component, you can use that in place of a Meteor. Anyway, that's it for this run. As always, I hope the video has been helpful, and if you did enjoy the content, please leave a like, comment or subscribe. It really helps a lot. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next Lufenia fight. Bye!